The First Great Schism was a pivotal event in the galaxy's history, marking the first major split within the Force-using community. Occurring approximately 25,000 BBY, this conflict laid the foundation for the centuries-long struggle between the Jedi and the Sith. The Great Schism begins with the Jedi Order, the precursor to the Jedi Order, which had emerged on the planet of Tython. The Jedi were a philosophical group of Force users who believed in maintaining balance between the light and the dark aspects of the Force. They viewed the Force as a unified energy field where neither side was inherently good or evil. Instead, they sought harmony by embracing both the light and the dark side. However, as the centuries passed, the Jedi Order began to shift. Over time, more and more members began to view the dark side as dangerous and corruptive, believing that its emotions, anger, fear, and passion could lead to violence and destruction. The Jedi teachings became stricter, focusing on self-restraint, peace, and control. This growing orthodoxy held that only through the light side could one find balance and true peace. Yet, not everyone in the Jedi Order agreed with the evolving doctrine. A growing faction of dissidents, led by a powerful and charismatic Force user named Xandor, began to reject the new teachings. Xandor believed that the Force was a unified power that should not be divided into light and dark. He argued that emotions were natural aspects of being human and could be harnessed to enhance one's connection to the Force. Xandor's followers, known as the Legions of Leto, named after their base on the planet of Leto, began to grow in number. Unlike the Jedi, who were becoming increasingly rigid and dogmatic, the Legions of Leto embraced the full spectrum of the Force. They were not Sith, as we would later come to know them, but they were the first organized group to fully embrace the dark side of the Force. They attracted many disillusioned Jedi, as well as individuals outside of the Order who were drawn to the promise of greater power and personal enlightenment. Under Xandor's leadership, they became a formidable force in the galaxy, determined to break free from what they saw as the Jedi's oppressive doctrines. Tensions between the Jedi and the Legions of Leto escalated over time as their ideological differences deepened. What began as a philosophical dispute soon turned into an open conflict. The First Great Schism was ignited in a galaxy-wide war. The war spread across multiple star systems, with both factions employing devastating Force powers. The Legions of Leto, skilled in using both the light and dark sides. However, the Jedi held the advantage of greater numbers, organization, and the moral high ground, which allowed them to rally neutral systems and planetary governments to their side. Despite their strength, the Legions of Leto suffered from internal divisions, as their followers were not always united. Eventually, the tide of the war began to turn in the favor of the Jedi. The war culminated in a decisive final battle, during which Xandor was killed. His death shattered the leadership of the Legions of Leto, and their forces were scattered. Without their charismatic leader, the Legions were left fractured. Most of their members were either exiled, executed, or forced into hiding on distant and desolate worlds. With the defeat of the Legions of Leto, The Jedi would go on to evolve into the Jedi Order, but their experiences during the First Great Schism led to significant changes in their teachings and practices. Their teachings now focused entirely on the light side of the Force, and they began to codify and reject the dark side as part of their doctrine, warning future generations about its corruptive potentials. Surviving members of the legions found refuge in the remote corners of the galaxy, where they would later influence the rise of the Sith during the Second Great Schism.